Hey, this is Glendon Cameron with the American Hustler Podcast. This one's a little different. This one might blow your mind. But before that, we need to pay some bills, baby. Right below, first link, Killer Hustler offer. You get not one, but 2 months of the Hustler Mindset with that offer. Check it out. It's the best thing I've ever done. And with that, let's get into it. I've taken note over the last 6 months. The economy has become better. Housing is firming up. People are buying houses. The mortgage rate, which is still at an all-time almost historical low, is still under 6%. I remember when it was like, 6% will be the lowest. It's 4%. Some people have locked in at 2.9%. Mortgage money is still cheap. However, the problem is that many people cannot qualify for a mortgage because they don't have a job with enough income. And that's where we get into the very interesting economy that we have. And it's not just the national economy, it's the global economy. If you don't have the skills or you're not in the right field, things could be very, very tough for you. Which brings us to the state of hustling and the exploding population. I have been on YouTube since 2009. When I came onto YouTube, there was maybe 30, I may say 60 guys really talking about hustling, reselling, storage auctions. I mean, it was really like, it blew my mind that the field wasn't just wide open. It was almost non-existent. I mean, 60 people on a platform like YouTube? That is like the dimples on a dimple. That's how big that is. That's like inside the dimple of a thimble. It is microscopic, maybe even subatomic. That's how small it was. And that was one of the reasons that I was able to do so well, because no one was really talking about it. Now, let's jump to 2013. Every day, there's a new picker. It used to be, because this is the thing, 2010, 2011, 2012, every day there was like a new storage auction guy. But the thing is, storage auctions are extremely hard, time intensive, capital intensive. They take a lot of work. Now the thing is picking. Now the thing is Craigslist hustling. Now the thing is flipping this, flipping that. It has literally exploded. 2009, and really, let's talk August 2009. Let's give it the proper context. Almost 2010. I mean, seriously, 3 years. It has exploded. And the economy has markedly improved. Yet it's still exploding. Why is that? What's really going on? Because the conventional wisdom would think if people have jobs or the ability to get jobs, they wouldn't hustle. But the thing is, I believe, just from my hustling little heart, that people are awake. They're not waking up, they are awake. And they realize that things have changed. They realize even if their job is secure right now, that may not be the truth 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. So people are hustling because they realize they have to. I have a lot of members of the Hustler Mindset Project who are not poor, who are not really interested in storage auctions, but they're really interested in preserving their way of life and also increasing it. Because what's going on, this disruptive economy, this new shift into how jobs, products, seriously, we're going to see some fundamental shifts in the way that work is performed. There's this paper, I believe the guy's name is Andrew McAfee. He's an MIT professor. He and his partner, who I think is Swedish or German, something like that, wrote a paper about the future of work. And depending upon where your mindset is, it's very exciting or it's very damning. It's a dark, dark future because the new economy will favor people that like to do some things that many people don't like to do. Read, research, learn some more, study, stop watching television, read, learn some more, go to work, try some stuff, be bold, have courage. You will have to do so many things that you're not doing now just to stay even in 10 to 15 years. It could be scary. I am of the side where I'm excited. I'm extremely, extremely excited about the future. I am just blown away at the tools, technology, and the things that are coming compared to the things that are already here. Because understand, everything that you do in terms of online commerce, it's going to get better. It's hustling. You will have more hustling tools in the next 3 years. I can't even predict what you will have that will enable you to make money, because right now there's somebody up at this hour. They've been up 12 hours. They're working on some software. They're working on a program. They're working on something that in a few years is going to enable you to make more money if you are in the pool now. This is one of the reasons I created the Disruptive Ninja channel. This channel will remain, hustling, Craigslist stories, storage auction stories, rants, whatever. But the Disruptive Hustler channel, I'm going to talk about disruptive technology, new things that come off. Whereas this, we're going to hustle. We're going to talk about hustling because hustling saved my life. There was a time when if it wasn't for hustling, I would have been really, really poor. And I'm talking, the whites of West Virginia County poor, scary poor, because hustling enabled me when I had a week that I was just like, oh my God, how's this week going to end? Because that's how hustling goes. It started off the week, and this was years and years and years ago, and I had only made $150, but I kept hustling. I kept doing stuff. I kept moving. That Friday, I had $1,000. I couldn't do that with a regular job, because with a regular job, regardless of how hard you work, you are only going to make per hour what you agreed upon when you took the job. That does not change. You might get a performance bonus, or if you're in sales, you might get a spiff if they still do those things. But only through hustling do you have the ability to increase your income from day to day. The other side of that is you can make absolutely nothing because there are no guarantees. But guess what? Having a job is just as risky as hustling. As I said earlier in this podcast, there are people who are getting it. They're awake, their eyes are wide open, and they can't sleep at night because they know what's coming. But there's another group, they're still drinking the sipperb with a little Kool-Aid flavor, and they're going, well, I have a job, and, jobs are what respectable people do. And that's another part of hustling that's a problem, the negative connotations. Because when I created, or I should say rebranded this channel from the Storage Auction channel to the American Hustler, people's like, hustling, it has such a negative connotation. Hustling saved my life. Hustling is my best friend. Hustling is the reason that I'm able to talk to you today, because if it wasn't for hustling, I may have just been miserably bad off. I know I wouldn't be talking to you if it wasn't for hustling. I know the opportunities that were presented to me came from hustling. So there is no negative connotation to hustling for me. I own up to it. I'm a hustler. I'm a staunch opportunist. I go out and I seek things I can exploit for profit. That's what I do. There's no shame in that. And I'll tell you right now, this channel, Glendon 007, was created exclusively for me to market my products. That's the only reason it existed. It evolved into many other things. I met some cool people, and it did really, really well compared to other channels in the resale space or even the personal development space, which I'm entering into. So I am pleased and proud to be a hustler. Love it, love it, love it. So that negative connotation is something that makes a few people slip, and they just can't do it because I didn't want to be a hustler. And I put this to you. So you want to be an unemployed person that looks good? I'm sorry, unemployment or low pay is extremely unattractive to me. I'm sorry, that's just me. I would not want to have a prestigious job title, yet chump change salary. And that's what's going on. People have these prestigious job titles that sound really good. Oh, you're the director of internet marketing, but you make 35 grand a year. You are the dean of WizNots and you make $25,000. You know these fancy titles? That doesn't pay the bills. You know, on my title is founder of Conundrum Publishing, and it's just writer. But I own the bitch. So, you know, it's a pretty simple title, and it's pretty much going to say simply. It may go to Chief Creative Officer. I like that because that's what I do, and that's the big shift with the other writing and fiction and stuff. But understand, do not get it twisted that, you know, hustling is a bad thing. Jump your ass into the pool. I'm serious. Jump your ass into the pool now, because right now the water's cold. And you're like, I don't want to jump in the cold water. I don't want to acclimate. Well, when the water is hot, it's because there's going to be so many hot, sweaty bodies in the pool. Yeah, when the water is warm and hot and it goes from cool to tepid and from tepid to boiling, that's not going to be when you want to get in the pool. You're going to want to be in the pool where you staked out some clean water, because it's going to be like the lemmings going over the cliff. They're just, hey, it's just going to be a massive jump. And the thing is, what I've observed with human nature is it won't be a slow march into the pool. It's just going to be one day people are going to like freak out and realize, hey, I need to be hustling. Splash. That's what's going to happen. Because a lot of people wait until the last minute and they're just going to jump in the pool. Whereas if you're already in the pool, you know the deep end from the shallow end. You've got the topography of the pool mapped out, and you know you have some intimate knowledge of the pool. You know what's going on versus this rookie who's doing the cannonball off of the high platform into the shallow section. It makes a difference. One of my mentors said, one of the biggest things in life is timing. And it's very true. Because when I created this channel, Glendon 007, for those of you who are listening on iTunes, it's a YouTube channel. I had a 14-month head start on the TV shows. Didn't know they were coming. Got some readings, or it came on my radar about month 8 that I was in the business, and I started getting all these calls from production companies and stuff. But understand, you want to get in the pool. You want to beat the herd. You want to start hustling on some level today. Don't care if you have a job. Don't care if you're fat, happy, fancy, and just living life. You need to start hustling now. Let me scare you for a minute. I've talked to a lot of people, and there's this thing that's going on. A lot of people are either A, can't get a raise, big problem there, or B, they're losing their jobs and cannot replace their previous income. Even a larger problem. And this is happening for two reasons. The first reason is technology. If your job can be replaced by an algorithm, at some point it will. It's a matter of time. It's not an if, it's a when. It's happening. So I want you to think, and this is another reason you need to be in the hustling pool, because once you get in the hustling pool and start thinking like a hustler, a business owner, how you view certain situations is going to change. Because when you view life through the prism of an employee, your view is so distorted because there's so many things you don't know to shape your perspective. But when you view life through the prism as a boss, like a boss, oh, it's totally different. When you see things like, hey, this company in this company in Topeka, Kansas, they said they're going to lay off 500 people and they're going to move their operations to China. As an employee, you're incensed. You're pissed off. You're like, they're taking those American jobs. How dare they, bastards? As a business owner, you're saying, we're about to raise our margins and reduce our cost. I know it's very clinical, it's very cold, but it's reality. This trend started with NAFTA and some other things. It is not going to completely reverse itself. However, once again, if you're in the hustling pool, you know this. There's a return to quality in the United States of America. People want quality items. I know it's kind of strange, but some manufacturing is coming back to the United States. Why? Because these other countries are experiencing an improved lifestyle. They're going up to middle class. And with that, hey, I know I'm Chinese, and I know 5 years ago my ass was in that rice paddy, but you know what? Yeah, that $2 a day you're paying me, we need to crank that up to $4, baby, or we're going to hold your ass hostage. Essentially, around the world, the people, or as they go through these emerging economies, they want more money. They got a taste of that life. They got a taste of going to work, coming home, and being able to do what they want. And they're like, I like this. I'm not going back to the rice paddy. No, Shanshay. No. I'm not, no. I not go back to rice paddy. No, it's a wrap. They're like, I'm here. I like this industrialized thing, and we're going to keep it moving. And part of keeping it moving is you need to pay me more money. So it is not as cheap as it used to be to go to these countries, because India right now just out-hustled China on a few things. Because this is not that one company. I did the video where the American executive was being held hostage by his own employees. And understand, there was way more to the story than what was presented. But the deal is, he left China to go to India. And then when India, which comes up, because there's certain parts of India that are totally, you couldn't tell you were not in America. When you go to certain places, certain complexes, it's just that westernized. And it's just going to grow. And, they have some issues with power grids, but all that's going to even out. They're going to get it together. So as all of these economies grow and all of these people get a taste of that life, oh, that's so good. I like how that tastes. There's no going back. So manufacturing is coming back to the United States in some quarters. And I'm excited because those are entrepreneurs. There are people who are saying, hey, the cost of going to China is not that cost savings it used to be. So I'm going to keep it here, which is a good thing for some people. But once again, if you're in the hustling pool, instead of being the person working at that factory, you might be the person who created that factory. That's the reorientation of the hustler, or as the young people like to say, thinking like a boss. Because if you think like a boss and act like a boss, you will get boss money, and more importantly, you'll have boss freedom. You have boss options. You call the shots. That is the most important thing to most people, the ability to call the shots. That's why you have people who get beat up on the job, go home and act like Hitler over their spouses and children because they don't have any power on the job. So when they get home, they walk through that door, and then it's just that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde metamorphosis, and they grow 8 feet tall and fangs come out, and they're like, go clean up your room. Because they don't have any power at work. They don't have that option to do what the fuck they want to do. So they come home and freaking lose it. So thinking like a boss, you will be able to control your future, truly control your destiny and own your destiny. That is the deal of getting in the pool. Now, that's what's about hustling. So here's a few tips to help you avoid the pack in the herd. Number 1, you need to get started. Let's talk about that. So many people, I'm waiting on Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, to give me the inspiration. I'm waiting on the muse. I'm waiting on this. I'm waiting on that. Well, keep your janky ass waiting, and one day there will be no more sand in the hourglass because you waited and it ran out. True people, true hustlers, people who think like a boss, don't fucking wait. They create. They create the opportunity. You create the opportunity. You don't wait for the opportunity. You position yourself to take advantage of something that may come along the pipeline, but that's because you're outside active on the streets of hustling. You're not inside like peeking through the blind like, is there some hustling opportunities? Nah, no, you have to be out there. You have to be making moves. You have to be part of the hustling landscape. So, number 1, get fucking started. Number 2, I don't know what I want to do, Clinton. I don't know what I want to do. I want to try this. Okay. You can't fucking have your cake and eat it too. I.e., you can't do everything. You can't be all things to all people. Pick some shit and get started and stay started. Okay, but what if it doesn't work out? Big fucking whoop-de-doo if it doesn't work out. This is what's going to happen if it doesn't work out. You will learn something. The sooner that you get started, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, even better, you will learn something. My first 5 businesses were gobble turkeys. I did them when I had a job. I was in the military for most of them. So, yeah, when they went bad, I still got paid because I had something else. But that's hustling. That's what I'm telling you to get started now. Why you have a job? Why you have income? That's why you get started. I know so many people that were hustling part-time, and then either their job disappeared or they got into some type of conflict with their boss, and they were able to leave a job and go to full-time hustling. And some of them, it wasn't pretty because they didn't make as much money initially, but once they got their clank hustle bones clanking, things started clicking, they started blowing up. Because most of them who really focused on their business have exceeded their job income. Let me say that again for the people who cannot believe or for the people whose ears are full of wax. Many of these people have exceeded their previous job income because they had something to transition to because they got started when times were still good. When you get started and your back's against the wall, you can perform, but it's a scary proposition. So get started, pick something, stay with it, and fail if it happens. Don't lose your mind. Don't turn into a scared little bitch like I failed. I'm going to tell you some stuff, and this is going to be very, very harsh, and I don't give a fuck. I'm a writer, and writers are some of the most sensitive people in the world. And I don't know if you have to be a writer. I'm still evolving, but when I hear that I wrote a book and it didn't sell, and therefore I'm going to stop writing, that's one of the most punk bitches asses things I've ever heard in my life. I started writing in 1997, and there was a big 8-year chunk where I didn't write as much because I was in the storage auction business and it demanded a lot of time. But I still wrote, here and there. I didn't give up. I didn't stop. And then, my first book did well. I had other books that came after it that didn't do as well as the first one. Did I go, well, these books aren't doing as well as the first one, so I'm about to get this shit up? No, it's like, okay, obviously this subject matter is not as enticing as the subject matter of the first book. I have some books under my pen name. 2 didn't do shit. They were just like, the society were like, wow, wow, wow. We're not wild, man. No, that's not doing it for us. All right, I need to write better books, That's what it is. There's none of this, because it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I'm going to stop. I'm going to give up. I'm going to cry in my milk. Bitch, grow the fuck up. If you have to pull on your nuts or tweak your nipples until the reality gets into you that failure is not a bad thing. It is just part of life. When you were a little kid, after you came out the womb, you couldn't do shit except lay around and go, wah, and look cute. That's all you could do. Then one day, you started moving. You rolled over, and everybody's like, oh, hell. When we put him down, they're not going to stay where we put him now because he can roll. The little fucker can roll. Then you got up on your hands and knees. You start pulling up on shit. But you fell down. Then you start pulling up on shit some more and you fell down. Then you started like walking, then you fell down. And you walked some more and you fell down. You were failing. Each time you tried to get up and you couldn't hold yourself up, you failed. But since you were a kid and it was all a big, wonderful world, and you saw those cookies on the counter and you said, one day in your little kid mind, I'm going to get those cookies. And for months, you were going, dun-dun, dun-dun. You went from crawling, you went from walking, then you started walking. Then you realized that if you used a stool that you could climb higher. Then your mother turned her back and she didn't know that you were real fast now because your motor skills were more developed and you were coordinated. So you grabbed the little stool, you got up there, and she turned around and you were sitting at the kitchen table eating that cookie with a big old smile on your face. And she was like, she didn't know whether to be shocked or pleased because now she was worried. She's like, oh, hell, I can't turn my back on this one anymore. You failed, but because you wanted those cookies, you kept going for months and months and months till you got the cookies. That's life. It's failing. It's falling down. It's getting back up. It's falling down. It's getting back up. It's walking. It's running. It's slowing down. It's limping. But the whole thing is, as long as you have forward progression, eventually you will get to the place that you want to go. You will get to those cookies. You will get to the cookies. So you got to make a decision. This whole notion of, and I'll give you some advice. Like if you have like 20 different things you want to do 3 at the same time. One will emerge as a clear winner. One will be like that dark horse that won the Kentucky Derby because I didn't know it had that kind of potential. Because one of the things is you don't know what kind of potential you have because you have not popped the lid. Your potential has been locked up in you. You've been denying yourself. You've been listening to other people forever. And you have no clue to what your potential is because you ain't doing shit. Once you start doing shit, start putting things into effect, start learning and making moves, you will start to figure out what your potential is. It may blow you. Some of you are going to become multimillionaires. A few of you are going to become billionaires because of the potential that is locked inside of you that you're not doing shit with because you're a scared little bitch. So you may essentially be sitting on billions of dollars of potential, but because you're a scared little bitch, you will not ever see that money. Then there's going to be somebody who doesn't have $1 billion potential doesn't have it, but they have tenacity, they have determination, and they have a I don't give a fuck attitude. I'm going to get my success, and you're going to be sitting there driving past his big ass house or mansion and hating because it's like, how did Harry Dumbfuck get to live like that? I'm smarter than him. I have more potential than he does. What the fuck? Well, see, Harry Dumbass took action where your highly potential loaded ass just coasted. I see it every day. I'll be the first to submit to you, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I am not the smartest guy on the planet. But I know that by working hard and having tenacity and strategy and a plan and keep pushing forward, you can get places that may even surprise you. I've surprised myself several times, and hopefully I will surprise myself. No, not hopefully. I will surprise myself again and again in the future, because you have to keep pushing. This whole notion of that success is a easy walk with no bumps and bruises is some bullshit. Success may bitch slap you 8 times before it kisses you. That's just the reality. And a lot of people don't want to go through those bitch slaps. But sometimes, as I was a kid, there was this commercial with this little owl. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a lollipop? And, you know, the little owl like chomped it, but it could be 1, it could be 30, you know, it just depends. If you are like the owl and just bite that bitch, it takes 1 lick to get to the center of a lollipop. So are you licking your potential? Are you chomping it? Are you pushing it? Are you really, really being real with yourself? Because understand, the pool is not as crowded as it's going to be. There's a lot of bodies in there. There's people backstroking, people like gurgling the water. There's even a little nasty kid going in the bathroom over there in the pool, but we're not going to talk about him. But the deal is, the pool has a lot of space right now. So either you could jump in now or you could jump in later. But mark these words. Sooner or later, your ass will be jumping in out of necessity, or you will wise the fuck up. Because understand, it's 2013. 2016, you will, like, if you come across this podcast or you come across it on YouTube in 2016, you're going to be, that dude was right. Because I'm telling you, I do a lot of reading. I am just blown away at the stuff that's coming. The average person, probably by 2016, will be able to go out and buy some robots. Maybe 20,000 a piece, by 5, and create a manufacturing process in maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 square foot space, and create $1 million or maybe a $5 million manufacturing business with no employees, or maybe 1 or 2. That's automation is being pushed down to where the average person, because those big robots you see in automobile plants, those are $1 million devices. There's so much technology that goes into it. But just like your computer in 1997 and your cell phone in 2013, your cell phone has more technology, processing power than your computer did back then. So if you embrace technology and you're looking at it from the right perspective, then you realize that you can turn technology into your bitch versus technology bitch slapping you. See, in this game of disruption and disruptive pimping, it's the truest statement that I've ever said. Either you're going to pimp technology or technology is going to pimp you. There is no middle ground. There's none. There's no, well, I don't really want to participate. That's kind of like women who's like, I don't participate with other women. I'm not competitive with other women. Well, it's not you who are making it competitive. It's the guys that are looking at you. So you may not be actively competing, but yeah, you're in competition with those other women, whether you want to realize it or not. And that's the deal with this new technology thing. You could act like you're not affected or you want to be apart from it, and you are just fooling yourself. So once again, either you're going to pimp technology or technology is going to pimp you. That's pretty much all I have for you today. This is Glendon Cameron with the American Hustler Podcast, and I will see you on the good side.